Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about the new movie, Reagan. If you end up enjoying this video, please consider liking and subscribing. That way I can narrowly avoid the next assassination attempt. The synopsis is as follows. From the glitter of Hollywood to the world stage, Ronald Reagan overcomes the odds to become the 40th president of the United States. Instead of talking about the 6 things that make a movie great, I just wanted to share some quick thoughts about this film. Obviously there's a lot of controversy around this film. You have some people who are hating on this movie for the wrong reasons, and you have other people who are trying to get everyone to go see it, saying that it's the best movie they've ever seen. Not to alienate myself, but I think both of these sides are stupid, and that the whole controversy around this film is just ridiculous. But let me tell you why. The story of Reagan is an incredible one, and barring a couple exclusions, this movie stays close to what actually happened during his life. And the fact that he fought hard against communism and was a man of faith and a multitude of other things are why he was one of the most widely appreciated and loved presidents ever. Nowadays, there's people that don't appreciate those things as much, to each their own. But while his story is an incredible one, to say that this movie is good would be a lie. First of all, instead of just this being a historical drama about Reagan, the way that they decide to tell the story is by creating a fictional KGB agent, telling the story of Reagan to another up-and-coming Russian diplomat, and explaining to him why he thought Reagan was a threat to Russia. Why I didn't like that is because he narrates for almost the entire film, and it pulls you right out of the story that you're trying to watch. The only parts of this movie that I felt really landed were when he wasn't narrating and you were actually able to step into the story of Reagan himself. In addition to that, the majority of the scenes in this film are 20 to 30 seconds long, and the result is that it's more choppy than a session of Fruit Ninja. And the cascading effect from that is that so much of this movie lacks depth. You don't feel the importance of the story, you don't feel the impact of the things that Reagan was doing, you don't feel the depth of any of the characters, and you feel like you don't know any of them, except for Reagan, of course, but it takes a long time to do that. In addition to that, another element of this movie that made it hard to watch is the very convoluted timeline. Not only are the scenes very choppy, but you're bouncing around between different time periods as Reagan gets older and closer towards his presidency, but because of the way it's done, it just ends up being very convoluted and confusing. In addition to that, there's some absolutely horrendous CGI in this movie that pulls you right out of the film, and it's not just used sparingly, it is throughout the entire film. You're like, oh, that's very much a green screen. In addition to that, Dennis Quaid is a good actor, and I grew up watching him, and he does a fine job in this movie. A lot of the other acting performances were very cheesy and poor. Like, I was watching these scenes and being like, where did they pull these actors from? Because it seems like they haven't acted a day in their life. I will say that I was very surprised to see the amount of cameos that I did in this film. A lot of recognizable veteran actors, and as ridiculous as it seems, I could have sworn that I saw Johnny Knoxville, but I don't think he's actually in this movie. But to see all of the hype and cameos and people behind this movie, I definitely thought it was going to be quite a bit better than it was. And there were a couple of very charming moments and fun interactions here and there throughout the film, but they are few and far between what otherwise is a very boring story. The story of Reagan is not a boring one. This movie's telling of the story of Reagan was pretty boring and I think poorly told, with a couple of creative choices that didn't benefit it in the long run. So while I really wanted to enjoy this movie, by the end of its 2-hour and 15-minute runtime, I was bored and just wanted to leave. I would encourage you to avoid both sides of the aisle on this one until you have seen the movie and form your own opinion. And it's hard for me to rate this film, but honestly, it's difficult for me to give it a rating above a 4.5 out of 10. Perhaps the story of Reagan was a timely one, but you have to do a whole lot better if you want an audience to enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching. If you've seen Reagan, please let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. As always, I appreciate your love and support, and I'll catch you guys and gals in the next one.